Hello everybody, welcome to a very cool video, and I wanted to do this since I saw the Other MCOC Gabe post it, and this is going to be a really spicy topic, and that is, which are the top 10 champions that need to be buffed in-game as voted by the community themselves. If you don't know already, this is an amazing site and also community when it comes to the MCOC Futurism Society and as well the MCOC wish list, and also the way that Gabe and crew put together these amazing ranking systems so players can get an idea of, like, players in the community coming together to vote on things, and also, like, understand what other feelings are towards, like, bringing new champions in, and so many other things. And predominantly Gabe uses Ranker, and it is great because it really gives you an idea of, like, rankings and stuff, like who is popular and who's not. And the particular thing we're going to be focusing on is the MCOC balance poll. Which champion should be improved next? Now, as of about a week ago, there was a poll in place, or this kind of like ranking system is in place of how it should be, with Groot taking the first place, Juggernaut with the second, Iron Fist with the third, Hulk with the fourth, Cyclops with the fourth, Phoenix with the sixth position, seventh was Moon Knight, Spider-Man Miles Morales was 8th, and Captain America was 9th, and Iron Man finally with a 10th spot. Now, these ranking systems are absolutely amazing because they allow players to get an idea of, like, as I said, what's interesting, what's hot, what should be buffed. Because a lot of the times you're kind of thinking, right, Kabam know this. They kind of go like, look, certain champions have got to be worked out and kind of like looked into. But there is a reason why Kabam kind of like stall on these things, and there's a good business way, and also there's a good kind of like background reasoning as to why, which we'll go over in a moment. But the ranking system has actually changed since then. It's currently at the point of recording this video. It's Groot number 1, it's Iron Fist number 2, Juggernaut is the 3rd place, then it's Hulk, then it's Phoenix. That's an interesting one, Phoenix in there. I do like Phoenix. I've got an awakened version of Phoenix, a 6-star, and I definitely would like to use it a bit further on. Cyclops blue version, of course. Moon Knight is number 7, and there's some iffy ones with Jessica Jones people want to make available, and I do agree that is a definite option, but with other champions in mind, I think it's important to look into. And as well, Deadpool having a wider availability, and also Dark Phoenix. There's a few kind of like iffy ones that kind of like fill out some kind of there. So a lot of things have really kind of changed since the poll went out, or the ranking system went out a little while ago, with Miles Morales, Captain America, and Wolverine, Blackbot, and so many others slipping down, which I think is very peculiar. But then it is what it is when it comes to these systems, that players' interests and what they currently want one week to what maybe on the next week, it does fluctuate and change. But I think it doesn't really stop there. For a lot of times you're looking at your roster and seeing champions like Rhino, you're seeing champions like Captain America World War II, you're seeing other champions like Deadpool X-Force, which is one, let's face it, a lot of players have been calling out to be buffed for a while. Hawkeye to a degree, but the champion is okay, can hold its own for a little bit. Abomination, Joe Fixit, some of the ones that if you look into your rank up roster and kind of look towards the bottom part, you'll always see never really put up any further, especially looking at the variety of Superior Iron Man, Electro, and that's really it. Then you start getting into some very weird territory as you go up, with some champions that should deserve a little bit more, like Sentry, and a few other bits and bobs when it comes to champions that then look to be more improved or improving, except for Karnak. Karnak is definitely up there, as well as Green Goblin. The list goes on with champions that need to be looked into and brought up to speed. But like, what does Kabam think about these things? Because they must see this stuff. They must know that there are champions out there that definitely need a lot more work done to them, but they're just not kind of like delivering on it as much. And especially when they're having to do additional work to champions like the Hood, because that caused such an issue with the player base. It takes a lot of developers' time away from certain areas to then add into others. But, what do they have to say? So when asked what are the criteria for picking a specific champ and not picking another, when actually buffing some really terrible champions is part of transparency only and stuff like that, the logic and stuff and criteria, Kabam responded back with, it's a combination of factors, not least of which is time and classification of buff. Overhauls take the most time, but even among those, some are more involved than others. Arguably, Diablo is probably the biggest overhaul since we started our new cadence, and to make that happen, we paired we paired it with a simpler value only update. So why were Ronan and Angela selected before Venom or Rhino? Because arguably neither of those two need a moderate or value only update. We've only been pretty open and clear about this. If you only want us to change some numbers on Rhino, he can be out in a couple of months, but that's not what people want. Lastly, it can come down to which one we have ideas that we like for, and simply who we want to update. So in some ways it is a bit of a shame not to see some of your key meme tier champions not get that love that, you know, would be so great, especially seeing like a champion like Iron Man, which I do agree would see like a fundamental massive change. The same way that Deadpool, X-Force, Jane Foster Thor, Ant-Man, and even Rocket would definitely need those champions to be completely overhauled, as opposed to like a small value change, unless there could be more kind of like big yellow numbers or extra numbers applied. But that's not going to be a thing, and you can't do it that way because of the factor that a lot of players talk about, and that's utility. Utility has been just the hugest thing to come into the game. Well, it's already been there, but let's face it, we put more emphasis on champions having utility now than we've ever done. Their usage in certain bits of content against certain kinds of nodes, their interaction in things from doing story quests, monthly stuff with the Cavalier nodes, you name it, like AQ, AW, and their bearing on the game is such a important part that champions like, as I said, Rocket, Ant-Man, Thor, Jane Foster, Iron Man, we need to have something there for players to have if they don't already have a means to an end, or saying like, okay, well, I've done 4 stars in Act 3 and 4 and 5. I now need 5-star versions in Acts, later part of Act 5, Act 6 and Act 7. So you're there like, right, if buff comes in, it has to tick some boxes so you can use the champion in different and various areas. And especially for me, other creators and other players, as you come to the game, you want to know who you can use in where. Now what I did was I inspected this list to find out how many champions, and I got a rough number of about 58 champions that are still yet to be worked on or need further work on. And those again will kind of like range from the ones that you see on screen now, starting with, you know, going from Miles Morales right the way down to the likes of Superior Iron Man, Rhino, Drax. I've taken out a lot of the kind of obscure ones like the Scarlet Witch and the Marvel Now version of Doctor Strange and stuff like that, and just stuck it to ones that, you know, Miss Marvel, Beast, Abomination, etc. Yeah, 58 I estimate that are champions that's still yet to be worked in. So where does that give you an idea of the length of time that it will take? Well, 19 months, providing we go at a 3 champion month basis, 19.3. Let's just say it's going to be around number 19 months to deal with all of the buffs that are currently from some buff or kind of like bad champions, from an overhaul, a value update, and I can't remember what the next are those, but basically the 3 champions a month that will be looked into. Which could mean that Kabam will be done and dusted with champion buffs by February 2023. So good luck with that, Kabam. Good luck. We wish you all the best. I just hope there isn't any bad champions that were released that then need further work and then kind of derail that movement of those 58 champions that still need to be looked into. But still, I thought this was an interesting deep dive, especially to look at the reasons for why, what champions are some of the hot champions at the moment that the players want to see buffed up, which we said as of last week were indeed, the first one was Groot, Juggernaut, Iron Fist, Hulk, Cyclops, Phoenix, Moon Knight, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Captain Marvel, and Iron Man, to name but a few of the various champions on the list. Do get involved with this because 725 summoners voted for it, but if more people follow the other MCOC Gabe and also the work he does with the rank up system, then it would be good to get more of an accurate idea from a large amount of players. So make sure to go and follow the other MCOC Gabe, and also make sure to bookmark the ranker page, which I'll put a link in the description. I just thought this would be an interesting deep dive of the 10 most wanted champions to buff currently. So that was an interesting thing. Very good. And also the time in which it will take to buff those champions, which I hope players enjoyed this little deep dive video. In any case, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching. At the point of recording this, me and Em may be somewhere enjoying ourselves before I get back to work, and you know, I've done all the family visits that I need to after the things that have happened. So I appreciate you for the love and support you give the channel, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. Make sure to check out some content that's on screen right about now, and I'll see you next week. Let's smash it, shall we?